Hi everybody, welcome back. Thanks for being here. What is community? This is a question that I've been thinking about most recently, and I'm really excited to dive a little deeper into it. We'll do some journaling later about what community means, but I wanted to also kind of dig through my bookshelf and try to find this wonderful tiny book called Seedfolks that I used to kind of start the year with my 7th graders. And it kind of helped to set the stage about what is community, what does it mean for our classroom, what does it mean for just like what is community? Kind of going back to the idea of like local, and local is our future, which I talked about in my last video. I wanted to see if I could find that book today because I wanted to reread it. It's a really short book, but it's got packs a punch, and it's something that I think you would really like. How did I teach this book when I taught it? And to maybe give you some ideas for the fall, because even though we're on summer break, sometimes teachers use this time to read books that they think might be great for their classrooms in the fall. And this one is one that I loved starting off the school year with, Seedfolks by Fleischman. Fleischman? It's so good. It sets the stage. It helps your students think about community, think about what's important to them. But anyway, we're not really gonna get into it today. I just wanted to see if I could find it. Where did I put it? So let's look through my bookshelf together. Back here, behind all of these YA books, are books that I used to teach. So let's see if it's back there. Not all of these are YA books, obviously. Oops, it's falling down. You see it? No, these aren't. I didn't teach all of those. What's back here? No, scoot that over. It's purple. It's small and it's purple. I don't see it there. I don't see it. And I don't see quite a few books that I used to teach. So I'm not sure where everything went. That's what cleaning gets you. Okay, I don't know. I'm looking at the bookshelf. I just don't know where these books are. Like the most recent things, like King and the Dragonflies, Flying Lessons, Anne Frank. Like Fahrenheit 451. Where are all my books? No, not over there. Aha! I found them! They're behind the writing books down here. Okay, I knew they were here somewhere. Let's take a look. Okay, here we go. Here's Seedfolks. It's at the top. I guess you could say it's at the side. Yay! This is that other book, Change Here Now. I'm bringing my pencil sharpener, a little bit of colored pens, a notebook, and Seedfolks, and look who's here. It's Marvel! And here's my pink picnic blanket. Look at the setting for studying. I think we can make that work. It feels so good to be outside doing this. If only I had a library outside with like shade, couches. I guess that's all I need. Shade and couches and books. Okay, let's do this. What is community? Before I get into this, I'm going to get into this, a special blank notebook. And I'm just gonna brainstorm for a little bit about this question. What is community? Of course, now I need to pick what color pen I want to work with. So you can help me choose. Is this fun? I just finished journaling a little bit about what I thought community was, and for me, I was thinking about what is community, like what is the foundational of like a town community, stuff like that. And that's really what I'm interested in right now, is like, how do you design spaces? How do you design spaces so that people can grow together in them, come together in them, create like a thriving local, sustainable place that people want to live and raise families and grow old in. So I know it's a little bit like beyond books and such, which I generally tend to talk about here, but it's all about shelf growth, right? Like self-growth, but also books can help us get to the information that we want and need so that we can grow and become wonderful human beings and help others. Okay, so here's what I have. I started off with the color green because I feel like community is something that's sustainable to me, and a lot of times green is used to demonstrate that, at least in marketing. Some words that I just started brainstorming, big words like conceptual abstract words about community, whereas community is connection. Community is nearby or local. It's something that's social. Community, I also said, was recognizable, supportive, encouraging, inspiring, and safe. And those were the words that just popped into my head in this 5-minute brainstorm. And then of course I had to switch to pencil because that is just how I roll. I'm a big pencil writer. And as I started to do that, I said, okay, well, what are some specific examples of these like bigger concepts? And if you're doing this with a class, here's the next step. Change your pen, change the marker you're using on the whiteboard, and then start to get some specific examples. And so for me in pencil, I said, okay, so communities, connections, but what does that mean? Okay, off the screen, in person, going to like a farmer's market or something. And that kind of connected with the nearby local aspect. So I said, more specifically for nearby and local community, it's accessible, meaning someone could walk or drive to this community easily, like within 10 minutes, I would say. Something that's a community that's nearby and local is also transparent or clear about their mission, their values, their directions. So like publicized city council meetings or like, like published agenda items or, like something like that, like something that someone could tune into and listen to and watch or attend in person. I also said nearby and local communities have green spaces. They have, I said earlier, farmers markets, places for people to come gather. I also said, like, for example, something that is inspiring or encouraging, enrichment opportunities like schools for like children, but also all ages. Enrichment opportunities like classes or workshops, something that can help someone else grow and maybe learn something new, and then even within that form their own kind of community. Other inspiring community-based things, local theater, local music, music in the park, stuff like that. Of course it's summer, so I'm thinking about all these things that are happening in the summertime, but I think you get the drift. Also like local papers with good news, printing scholarships of local high school students who've won, the best FFA cow of the year or something, like sweet local things that are truly important to people, and recognizing that. And local press is a whole different thing that provides, I would say, independent, autonomous, successful communities, and engaged communities too. And again, what does it go back to? Writing, connections, so good. Okay. One other thing I just thought was interesting that I got to, a couple of like kind of bigger critical points. Under community, I said community is recognizable. And so what does that mean? Recognizable was one of my green words. And then in the pencil below, more specifically, I said, okay, it's a town, it's a school, it's something that's named. And I thought that was an interesting, like, second level analysis of what community is. It's something that's named. So yeah, so what is community to you? Again, this is a great activity to start off with your students if you're about to read Seedfolks, or even just the start of the year. What does community at our school look like? What do we want our classroom to look like? A lot of teachers do this. It's nothing new. Okay, But for today, I keep like reaching over here. For today, I wanted to start reading this book, Change Here Now, like this place, Permaculture Solutions for Personal and Community Transformation. I picked this up for $1 at a local yard sale. There's an inscription in the front and it says, "To Norm, may your journey lead you to patterns yet to be discovered." Signed, Alma. That's sweet. When was this published? Always important to know. 2017. So a little bit older, but not crazy, still within 10 years. This book is dedicated to my ancestors who struggled so that I could thrive. And who's the author? Adam Brock? Who is he? I always like to look at that. He's in the back. Social permaculture designer, facilitator, and consultant based out of Denver. Okay, this is what he looks like. I'm just gonna get into it. I think it's great that I'm reading outside with you today, so why don't you join me? And I'm one of those people who's totally fine and loves actually annotating inside my books. So I'll be grabbing a pencil here shortly. I brought 2 pencils and a pencil sharpener because that is how I roll. I do not want to have to get up and interrupt this study session here because my pencil breaks or something. Can you help me read? Are you going to help me read? Okay, it's a little bit later now and I spent some time reading the first couple of sections of this book. It's interesting so far. Definitely feels like I'm reading like a college course textbook, but that's what I'm here for. I want to like push myself to learn a little bit more. So in the intro, here's some notes that I took. In the intro, Brock defines permaculture, which is a portmanteau for permanent agriculture or maybe permanent culture. Permanent in the sense of like what's sustainable. And it's starting to remind us that permaculture, kind of the 3 ethics of permaculture include earth care, people care, and fair share. There are other principles that fall underneath that, but those are kind of like the guiding morals, overarching morals of permaculture. When I think of permaculture, I think of it in regards to like backyard gardening, and like you capture the rainwater, it goes down into the bucket, you use the bucket to water your plants. Like that's a really simple example of permaculture, and it shows up in Seedfolks too. And there are other like systems that like work to support one another, usually with growth, usually with agriculture. At least that's how I think of permaculture. But this is talking about how permaculture is seen through societies and how it needs to be investigated a little bit more. What does he say? Through things like governance, like educational attitudes, media, entertainment, those things that like you can't really like tangibly see are worthy of investigation. Wow, this is like, I'm not sure, I'm just kind of thinking off the top of my head here. So what did I say? My thought was permaculture includes thought, action, and design around these, what he calls invisible structures. I'm not sure if the term invisible structures is an outdated term or not, but anyway, that's because he kind of like references that a little bit, but I'll keep reading and let you know. And then the very first bit of this book, he says in the intro, you can read this book any way you want, like chapter by chapter, anything that interests you, just like pick it up, put it down. I'm gonna start from the beginning and go from there, but I'm not sure, maybe not everything I'll be interested in or not everything will apply to me, so I'll be happy to skip those parts. But they're short chapters and they have like a guiding thought. This first one is about thinking big and thinking long-term, thinking generationally, and how every action has a ripple effect, especially in terms of like how do societies work and work together. Is it just for short-term gain or is it for long-term growth? And what do we have in place to ensure the sustainability of the long-term, ultimately? So I said the long game, healing, especially healing a society, takes time. Work incrementally, work with patience, and take the big picture into consideration. And the quote that I wrote down says, cultivate groundwork rituals to connect our work with larger structures of meaning. So I guess take time to cultivate groundwork rituals to connect our work with larger structures of meaning. And to me, that's what permaculture is all about, where you're just kind of like, here's a system, and you're just kind of like hooking this other system up to it, and they just kind of like follow this pattern. So anyway, that was kind of fun. I like reading outside. I'm glad that I'm getting into change here now. If you're into permaculture or into gardening, you can certainly include that in Seedfolks in this community book. And I'm excited to learn more about community. I'm excited to share more about community with you. What do you think community is? What is community to you? Let me know in the comments below. And I'll see you next week. Bye, lovely people.